Hi everyone and welcome to the channel. My name is Adrian and in this video I'm going to set up and review the Kelty Ashcroft 3 tent. Alright, let's get into it. £6.3, and that's with everything that came with the tent, including the instructions. Okay, so if I compress it all the way, about 21 inches. Six inches. Yeah, about 6 inches there too. Tent poles, stakes, rain fly, the tent body. When you're setting up the tent and you're putting in the poles, if you try to bend this pole and put it into this pocket here with any tent, it's going to push the tent away from you. So if you step on the tent itself, then you can bend the pole up like this and then insert it into the pocket so it doesn't push the tent away from you while you're trying to do that. So here's the tent. There's a big D-shaped door on it. It has dual zipper pulls. Looks like it has two sections for the door retainer, right here and right here. 3 clips going down each side of the pole, and then a central clip. This is one thing I really like about Kelty tents. They have these big pockets right here that the entire tent pole goes into. That's a really good feature. I like that about Kelty tents. So here is the rest of it. There's only one door on the tent, so nothing back here on the back. You can see a lot of it is mesh. So there's the walk around of the tent without the rain fly on. All right, one thing that I'm always curious about is how big each section of the tent is. So I'm gonna take a measurement on this piece of fabric right here. So from the ground, and I'm angling in towards the tent, so I'm flush with the tent, that's about 19 1/4 inch. Okay, here I'm on the inside of the tent. I'll show you some of the features in here. Here's the zipper pull from the inside. Pretty smooth. Right here you have the 2 clips for the door retainer. And then we have these pieces up here, these loops that are sewn in. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of those. And then the middle one, you probably can't see this on camera, but it's got a little plastic O-ring in here, so it's easier to clip into. These other 4, they don't. They're just loops. Pretty strong too. Actually, really strong. Putting quite a bit of weight on that. Yeah, that's impressively strong, actually. So I like that. Let me lay down so you can see how it looks laying down. So there's a lot of mesh in here. Most of the top and the sides, in fact, all of the top and most of the sides are mesh. And you have these 2 pockets here, one on each side. So there's this one, which is mesh on one side and solid on the other. And then you have another one of those back over there in that corner. Okay, you've got a length measurement here. You can see, I hope you can see. There it is, pushed into the corner as far as I can get it without the tape breaking. And we come down over here and we're right at 86.5 inches on the length of the tent. Now let's get a width. Okay, the width, you can see the same thing. I've got the tape pressed into the corner here. And we go all the way over to here and pulling at 75 inches. All right, so now I want to get some sleeping pads in here so you can see how it looks with the sleeping pads put in the tent, and then how it looks with 2 pads in the tent and me laying down on those pads so you can really get an idea of the length and the width and the dimensions. The sleeping pads that we use are pretty heavy duty sleeping pads. We got them at Cabela's. I'll do a review on those in the future. They're pretty thick and pretty big. So let me go get those and then I'll put those in and show you those. Okay, I have the pads in the tent now, and these pads measure 79 inches by 31 inches. So the tent wall is resting on my head and my feet barely touch. Even when they're relaxed, they're barely touching. And to give you an idea, I'm almost 6 foot 2 inches, and I'm about 205 pounds. So that kind of gives you the idea of how big I am in this space. Let me see if I can show you. So that's about how I look in here. Let me show you this, try to show you this angle. I'm not sure how all of this will look on camera. But it's a pretty roomy tent. There's plenty of room to sit up in the tent. I have probably 18 inches above my head from the center of the tent, and even here on the side I have plenty of room. Even with the door zipped, that'd be fine. Let me show you, see if you can see. Here's one pad pushed into the side, and my pad on this side is not even all the way in. Let me show you that. So you can see there with these 2 big pads pushed right against the wall, there's still a fair amount of room here in this middle section, which is nice to just put gear or whatever in. Let me measure that for you and show you that. Okay, so with the pads pushed up against each side of the tent as far as they'll go, this gap in the middle between the 2 pads is almost 11 inches exactly. It's just like a 1/16 of an inch below 11 inches. So that gives you an idea about how much space there is in here. All right, I'm gonna jump out, put the rain fly on, and show you some of those features. Okay, I have the rain fly on the tent. Let's walk around and take a look at some of the features. I guess we'll start at the front. So here's the front and here's the door. You have a nice vestibule area here. This comes out pretty far. And in fact, you know what? I'm gonna get a measurement on that. Okay, I have this measuring tape just touching the base of the tent, and I'm pulling this hard enough to the point where it almost starts to slide the tent if I don't back off a little bit. So right here, in line with this piece of nylon, we're about 28.5 inches on the vestibule. And let me show you how that looks. So that is about how far out the vestibule comes. Let me see if I can get you over here. That's how the vestibule looks. Okay, here's a walk around. So on every side of the tent, you have these pieces of fabric that are sewn in with guy lines tied onto them to help stake the tent out, stake the fly out. That's nice. Down here in every corner, you have this compression strap that's used to cinch the fly down. And then there's this loop right here out of nylon that's used to stake the actual tent down. That's on every side of the tent. Here in the middle, there's this piece right here that you can use to stake out the rain fly to get some air movement up through the bottom of the tent. So you can kind of see that. It's probably pretty dark in there, but you can kind of see how that gives you about, oh, I'd say about a foot. Pulls that out about a foot. Let's walk around the whole tent now. Now we're at the back of the tent, and there's another one of those to pull out the rain fly and stake that out, so that's nice. And I didn't know this before, but there's actually a flap here for circulation. And this flap, there's just a hole that leads, it's got mesh over it, and it's just a hole that leads into the tent. And then there's this little piece right here that has, feels like plastic, feels like a piece of flat plastic in there that's used to hold this open. That's pretty tough to do with one hand, but I think I can get it. There we go. And it's got Velcro on it, so it holds that open. That's how that looks. That's pretty nice. I didn't see that the first time I set this tent up and walked around it. Here's the other side. That's how it looks overall. I like how tight this is pulled, how tight the rain fly gets pulled. And again, on this side, there's another one of those sections where you can pull the rain fly out. So that's nice. Something I forgot to mention as I was walking around the tent that I didn't remember here until the very end, of course, at the time you're gonna be watching, this is probably the middle of the video, is that I don't know if all Kelty tents do this, but at least this Kelty tent has this feature where the rain fly is actually color coded. So every corner of the tent has this blue nylon webbing right here, and so does the rain fly on 3 of the corners. But on one of the corners, you can see that it's orange. So the compression strap is orange, and the nylon webbing sewn into this tent pole pocket is also orange. That helps you orient the rain fly properly, so it's facing the right direction. And I just think that's a good feature on this tent. Again, I don't know if this is on all Kelty tents, but it's at least on this one, and I've seen it on some others. I think it's a great feature, and I wanted to make sure I pointed that out. Okay, the rain fly has 1, 2, 3 pieces of Velcro that hold it shut. Has dual zippers on it. Oh no, it doesn't have dual zippers. It only has 1 zipper. I thought it had 2. Okay, so 1 zipper. And there it is open. Okay, so here's the inside of the tent with the rain fly on. You can see now with the rain fly on, there's that ventilation pocket that I was talking about on the outside right there. It's just this triangle with this little hole in it. Let's see how big that is. Let me get a measurement on that. Okay, so the diameter is just under 5 inches. Looks like about 4 7/8. Now with these poles, I like to fold them down so they don't spring around while I'm disassembling things. And then I'll take one side, I'll put my foot on the tent so the tent doesn't slide away as I pop this out and put pressure on the tent pole, because you can see the tent pole is trying to push the tent that way. I hope you can see that at least. And then I'll just start breaking the pole down right here and take tension off the pole as I break it down. That prevents the pole from kicking the tent out and away from me. Same thing on this other side. I'm gonna put my foot on the tent, and then I'm gonna take the pole out of the tent. That way the pole doesn't push the tent away. Because see, if I took my foot off, it starts to push the tent away. And then I'll just break the pole down, take the tension off the pole, and there we go. All right, so there's the tent. Pros and cons. Pros: ease of setup, ease of takedown, feels very, very stable. The zippers felt great, and the tent has good dimensions. The cons, well, for me, it's just that the tent isn't big enough for what we're gonna use this tent for. We're using this tent for car camping, and we're either gonna be staying in campgrounds or just staying on BLM land. So we're not gonna backpack with this tent, although you could backpack with this tent. It's light enough to do that, but for our purposes, we just want something a little bit bigger. This is a 3-person tent, and we also picked up yesterday at REI, we got the Kelty Discovery 4. That's a 4-person tent, and I'm going to do a setup and a review on that after this video. So I think that tent is the one that we're actually going to keep. That seems like the right dimensions and the right size. If that tent wasn't an option, I probably would keep this tent because it is long enough for me, and I'm almost 6'2", so it's barely long enough to where I'm not like crunched in by the tent. And it is wide enough. You could see in the video that there was a little section in the middle that was about 11 inches where you could keep some gear and stuff. So yeah, it's a great tent. I think it's an awesome tent for 2 people. I wouldn't try to fit 3 people in here. You can fit 2 people comfortably with some gear in the tent, which is great. It has the vestibule area to keep some gear outside, which is great. We just want some more space. So we're gonna take this one back and then check that other tent out. All right, that's it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.